Hello, YouTube. It's Sunday, March 20th, 2022. It's 9:21 a.m. I don't know why I'm waking up this early because I went to bed pretty late, but I'm uh, I'm awake and I'm alone again, as per usual. Um, I got home from Hideaway, walked home from Hideaway by myself, as per usual. And I got home, I want to say around 3 in the morning. I kind of leisurely took my time walking and just stopped and sat down at a couple of bus stops and watched YouTube for a bit. Just because, I don't know, just not in a real rush to get home alone, you know? But, um, uh, yeah, Priscilla not home when I got home, and she's still not home now, and it's, almost 9:30 in the morning. So God knows who she's staying the night with, but it's not with me. Um, she does her trick like she's done the last couple times of staying out all night, but then coming home and physically teasing me, trying to get me turned on, but then ultimately leaving me, hanging. Yeah, I'm gonna try to have the strength to push her away this time, because that's not having any kind of positive effect on my mental state. Um, and she never has any kind of good explanation as to where she's been, why she's been out all night. So I gotta, try to, I don't know, same old shit, things will be better once I get my car. I'll have some kind of control over my destiny, I think, when I get my car. Anyway, I set my alarms on the new Obama phone, so hopefully it wakes me up in time, since I still haven't managed to get logged into the Amazon A to Z app on this phone. I did get an install in here, but I'm not logged in. I don't remember what my login is, and I'm having a lot of trouble with logging into apps, even if I can remember the password, because everything wants to authenticate with my phone number, and of course my phone number is on my iPhone, which is stolen. So yeah, everything wants to authenticate with a text message, and that's nice that that's a thing that exists, but like, yeah, when your phone gets stolen, or when your battery's dead, or for whatever reason you can't receive those text messages, but you got another device and you're just trying to log in and handle your life, it's it's not helpful, and that's fine. Like, I need to be going to work at Amazon tonight as opposed to taking VTO. Um, Actually, I did set my alarm. I was going to go back to bed, but actually, the more I think about it now, it's probably a good time to get up and get my Amazon orders, or sorry, not Amazon, but my eBay orders handled. I've got a CD and a VHS tape. It's been probably a week and a half since that VHS tape was ordered, so I really need to get them shipped. I'm pretty sure the post office, the GMF down at Washington, down at Van Buren Street, I'm pretty sure that one is actually open until 5 on Sundays now. So I think that's what I remember seeing the hours the last time I went there. The last time I went there on a Sunday. Oh God, that was a stupid video. Time I went there on a Sunday. Like, timing it to make sure I got there by 9, completely oblivious to the fact it was freaking Sunday. And now thinking about that, I wonder what the heck was going on with me that I wasn't on my way to Amazon. I don't know, maybe that was right before I started the Amazon job. I don't remember. Most of this last year, as I try to think back on it, is just a big depressing blur, especially from the point that my car broke down. Priscilla said she's going to make an effort to take my bedding to the laundromat. So hopefully that happens. But I mean, at this point, she hasn't even come home. So doing laundry is like, yeah, not holding my breath for anything from her. At this point, I just wish she'd get the fuck out. I feel like if she vacated my apartment, I'd at least find the motivation to clean it up and make it nice inside again. And, because then if I do actually meet a woman that I find attractive somewhere, like I can invite her over to my place. There's a woman who regularly comes to my show at Bullock's who actually came to my last night at Jay's Cocktails. Brought a bunch of her friends. That was pretty nice. She knows I've been going through some heavy depression lately, and she chats with me kind of regularly on Snapchat, which is something, because at least when I get messages from her, I feel a little less alone. But she, I forget what day it was, but sometime last week when I was super depressed and not getting out of bed. And before I went back to Bullock's, because I had told her I was, that I didn't go to Bullock's, and that because nobody other than the owner of the bar had even called me to see if I was okay, or, I just felt really unwanted and not missed. And she actually offered to come over, and I was just like, yeah, my apartment's not really suitable for people to come over. And just the, and I think, if Priscilla and her messiness were gone, I think that might be the motivation I need to get this place nice. And then, then when someone does, hey, you want to come over? Yeah, come on over, watch some movies, Netflix and chill. Anyway, last night at Hideaway wasn't awful. I did spend a lot of my time just kind of sitting alone. I don't, a lot of the times I just don't feel like I integrate well with anybody. I just feel like an outcast. I mean, a lot of it kind of stems from the fact that when I go to places, I'm arriving alone on foot, with the knowledge that more likely than not, I'll be leaving alone on foot. I've never been good at, I don't know. I want to say I've never been good at picking up women in bars, but then I've seems like I've done it more than my share. So I don't know. I just don't feel like I have any, like don't have any game, I guess. But it's not like I can be like, hey, want to come back with me to my place? Hop in my car. My place isn't a place I could take anybody back, and I don't have a car, and I don't see anybody other than a homeless person down to walk 2 miles with me. So, which of course a homeless person isn't going to be inside Hideaway, most likely. I did see, I usually always run into people I know there. I mean, obviously I know the bartender, I know the karaoke DJ, but there's an older guy. I wish I could remember his name. Like older. I want to say he's like probably pushing 80. At least he's in his 70s, but super nice guy. And he's been hanging out at the Hideaway as long as I can remember. Like I used to go there for karaoke back when my friend Sherry hosted there, and also when my friend Heather hosted there. He used to hang out there then, and he used to also come to my show when I hung out when I hosted at the Ox, which is it doesn't exist anymore. It's actually a mortuary now. That's ironic, but it's located 1 block was on a side street, Pinchot Street, right off of 32nd Street, so about a block north of the Hideaway. So anyway, he used to come there. So I saw him. I mean, obviously I'm not flirting with that guy, but at least it's nice to see somebody who's friendly. And a gay native dude whose name I can never remember, and I feel awful for that, but who used to come to almost every show I had at Castaways. And he's always really nice. And I think he kind of senses that I'm alone and lonely and like kind of looking for a woman in my life that'll actually be there for me and be, kind of with me, as opposed to the travesty I'm living with right now. And because I think he introduced like 3 different women to me, which is super awkward. Like, it was awkward for them. It was awkward for me. I'm just like, I'm trying to smile. I'm sure at this point, I'm in so much pain inside that I think when I try to smile, it just comes off as just insincere and creepy. But, I'm shaking their hands. I'm like, hi, I'm Dan. And then like, you can just tell they're just like kind of wanting to pull away from me. Like, like, why am I over here being introduced to you? And meanwhile, for me, I'm just like, I have no idea who you are or anything to say to you. And then for the most part, like, I just kind of sat. I usually kind of sit at the far left end of the bar because there's a mega dance machine there and I can play Word Dojo. Granted, I mean, I'm still kind of detached from everybody, but at least it's something to occupy me. And I feel a little less awkward and weird sitting there. And there's a slight chance, it hasn't happened in years, but slight chance that somebody might actually come up and look over my shoulder and watch me play the game and be intrigued by it and maybe start up a conversation. As I said, that hasn't happened in a long time, but it has happened. And playing the game occupies my mind and makes me, it's something I enjoy. So, but yeah, when I sat down there, the bartender told me there was a drink that was like 3/4 gone, and then a plate that had like 2 wings left on it and looked like it was pretty much finished with a napkin over the top of it, just sitting there. And the bartender's like, well, there's somebody sitting there. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. To me, somebody sitting there is to be somebody sitting there. I hate people that like have a spot that they're at the bar and then they'll leave it and go outside and hang out in the smoking patio and smoke and be outside and be gone and like still think that they get to keep their seat at the bar. Like, make up your mind. Do you want to be at the bar or do you want to be outside working on your cancer? Like, what makes you so special that you get to have 2 places? I'd like to sit at the bar. Now, granted, there's other places I could have sat at the bar. It's the only spot I'm really comfortable sitting at the bar, unless I'm sitting next to somebody that I know, and they actually asked me to sit by them. But so anyway, after I got my beer, I gathered my stuff up, my jacket, and my replacement Sennheiser headphones, which, by the way, I'm loving. That's one thing that is actually kind of bringing me some happiness. Those Sonys that I got included with the CD player were exceptionally disappointing. And yeah, those Sennheisers have the sound that I've grown accustomed to. It sounds right. It sounds full. And even just plugging it into the Obama phone, it's Obama phone number 3, this phone. It's a good quality. So yeah, I had those with me, and then both phones, of course. Pitcher of beer and the glass they gave me with it. So I carried all that stuff over to one of the round tables and just, didn't really see anybody I knew at a table. So I ended up sitting at a table alone. And for all the people that I know that came up to me and said hi, like, nobody actually sat down by me at my table. So that was a little frustrating. Got a lot of attention every time I sing. I mean, that's something I always, I don't know about always, but that's something I can generally count on at a karaoke bar. And I picked out mostly songs that I do well at, that people seem to be grooving on. Remember I sang, first one I did was Bill Withers' Use Me. And I think there's an old enough of a song. A lot of the crowd there didn't know it, but the people that did were just really grooving on it. I was in my zone with it. And I also sang that song last Thursday night, so it was kind of stuck in my head and feeling it. So, and I don't sound like Bill Withers when I sing it at all. I just kind of take it my own place. Like I'm just sing that like me. That was cool. One point I did Belle Biv DeVoe Poison, and he used the Chartbuster karaoke version. I did not like that version at all. Not nearly as I use SBI for that. And I don't even consider my SBI version to be that great, but it's notably better than the Chartbuster version. So that's one of those I've kind of wanted to get a better version of, but good to know that the Chartbuster it ain't it. But I still did good with the song. Like I know the song, I was in my space with it. I actually got a handful of compliments. I even had somebody come up to me at the bar later. She said that she was in the bathroom and she heard me hit the high note at the end of it. Like kind of as the song ends, there's sort of a high note that's like, and I nailed it, and that was kind of neat that somebody actually that impressed somebody enough that they came in, to tell me that they heard me. It's like, heard that when I was in the bathroom. That was awesome. So that felt good. And I had some random guy I didn't even know, some tall guy, was all dancing. He's like, that made my panties wet, and I'm like, good times. And he's like, dude, you gotta slow your roll. You gotta leave some for the rest of us. But as far as leaving some for the rest of them, I did see a lot of women leaving with a lot of men, and as for always, I left alone. There was a really, really hot redhead who came up to me and kind of grinded on me a couple times when I was singing, and was like always giving me high fives when I was singing. And she even came over to my table and said hi a couple of times. It looked to me like she was wearing a wedding ring. And it also seemed like she was like kind of flirting and dancing with a lot of other guys. And I don't, I'm the kind of guy who just never gets social clues. I don't know what to make of her. All I know is that when I see somebody that's like bouncing around like that, I'm too confused to be the guy that impresses her. Like, so inevitably she just loses interest in me, and she did. God, she was freaking gorgeous though. Just pretty thin, kind of short redhead. I guess she's probably in her mid-30s, but now that I'm getting older, I think women that I meet that are 40 are in their mid-30s. So, whatever perspective, I guess. But definitely very cute. But yeah, I think she's kind of doing that with everybody who is singing. Like at one point, I noticed her even kind of getting up and sliding up next to the guy that's in his 70s. And to be fair, that guy's got a lot of game in spite of his age. So whatever. I don't know. I don't remember her name, and I guess it doesn't matter. And certainly wasn't going to ask for her phone number. And even if I got her phone number, what would I do with it? Not trying to call anybody with this phone number, because this phone number is Brittany's phone number, and I still need to try to figure out how to get a hold of her and get her phone number back, because I'm still getting so many text messages for her. I've generally not been responding to them, just to kind of not rock that boat. Although there was one I just couldn't help but respond to yesterday, because apparently she's like trapped in a bunch of group chats. And I've never been a fan of group chats. Like if you got something to say to me, just like message it to me. But like, it just seems like most anytime there's a group chat, like it just has nothing to do with me. And then all the messages between the other people that are in it, like while I'm trying to do something else, and it's just distracting and annoying. And I know I'm not the only person who's just, annoyed by group chats like this. And anyway, so some random person on it. And of course, I don't know who any of these people are. Like, I don't have Brittany's phone. I have Brittany's phone number. So these numbers, they're just coming up as random phone numbers. I mean, most of them are local phone numbers, they're coming up as random phone numbers on my phone. And someone was like, hey, can you remove me from this group chat? Which is adorable, because clearly she doesn't know how group chats work. And Anyway, I sent some pretty obnoxious messages and kind of messed with her on that. Um, I'll just remove yourself. Why don't you remove yourself? Who is this? She's like, who is this? I'm like, well, I asked you first. Uh, anyway, I don't know where that went, but I don't know. It's always, anytime I get in a random group chat where I don't even know who the people are messaging me, I just always kind of like to fuck with those people because I know I can't remove myself from it, but I can still fuck with those people to the point that they maybe, if the person who is initiating it, might make the effort to remove me, like not include me in their next group chat. Anyway, wow, my camera work is amazing on this, isn't it? What else I was gonna. Oh, so yeah, so that happened. I did see one woman that I was really excited to see who I haven't seen in, God, I want to say probably 8 years. Somebody I've actually known longer than Priscilla. And somebody who's kind of, she's come on to me before, and nothing's ever happened. I mean, we've kind of kissed a little bit, but nothing's ever really happened with her, so I've never gone home with her or anything. And a lot of that boils the fact that I just genuinely don't find her that attractive. And 8 more years on her didn't really do anything to improve that situation. But I do think she's a really nice person. And if the situation was different last night, I do think I would have gone home with her. But I mean, at one point she made it really clear she wanted me to kiss her on the mouth, and I just kind of kissed her on the cheek and gave her a hug. So she had a friend she was hanging out with, so that was her bestie that they've known each other since school. And her friend was kind of cute. Honestly, I thought her friend was way cuter than her. But again, like not massively attracted to her friend either. But that really didn't end well. When I was tabbing out, it was probably about 10 till 1:45. She noticed that I was struggling to read my tab. My vision is really, really bad at this point. And so I had like my right eye closed. A lot of times, anytime I'm reading stuff, I usually end up having to close my right eye, and then my left eye is a little better on stuff that's up close. Which is so not an attractive look, but it's just kind of what I end up having to do at this point to see. But she started kind of heckling me about it. And she watched me fill it out, and then she's like, you're only tipping $3? I only got one pitcher of beer and a burger. Like, kind of my tradition has always been whenever I'm ordering at a bar, like, regardless of the price of my drink, I tip $1. If I buy a pitcher of beer, if it's $5, I give them $6, which is considerably more than a 10% tip, considerably more than a 15% tip. So, as far as food, I mean, generally you 10-15% on a food order. Anyway, $3 was, about 15%. My tab was about $15. So, I mean, not an exceptional tip, obviously, but I didn't feel like that was a bad tip. And then she started just berating me for that tip. Like, well, don't you understand that they work for tips, that they don't even get minimum wage, blah, blah, blah. Like, bitch, I understand how a bar works. And I didn't say that to her, but that's what I was thinking. Like, did you not listen to your friend when she introduced me to you and said that I host karaoke as well? Do you not think somebody who hosts karaoke understands how bartenders are paid? So anyway, whatever attraction like I had to her was just lost immediately, as I just was deciding that she was a complete and total cunt. But yeah, then she's like, and she goes, well, God, if I was your bartender, I'd never serve you again. I'm like, oh, I'm like, that's nice. And she's like, yeah, you're a fucking cheap ass. And she walked away. I'm like, wow. It's like, bitch, I'm not rich. Just like, I mean, it'd be great to throw $10 tips around and $20 tips around. I ain't got $10 or $20 to throw around, I mean, I walked there because I couldn't really afford a lift, and I can't afford a car.
I certainly can't afford to be throwing excessive tips at bartenders that, basically provided me with the bare minimum. Um, Nothing against the bartenders, but I mean, there just wasn't any kind of exceptional anything, in the service. It wasn't bad service, but it was nothing that was like made me think, well, that bartender was awesome. I got to throw her a little something extra. Um, yeah. She said, you're a cheap ass. Last song I did, anyway, like I said, it's good to see Cheryl. I hadn't seen her in a long time. She used to work at the urgent care right by my apartment here. So I used to see her, like anytime I'd get sick, I'd see her. She'd usually be working, admitting there. And we chatted. Like she said, she's working still in the medical field, she's working at a lab in North Scottsdale. I should have really got her phone number, but I don't know. I wasn't, I kind of like, I think it would have been different if she'd actually sat at my table and we'd have talked more, but we'd like have these little short conversations and then she'd go back to the bar and sit by her friend, which is fine. I mean, she probably came with a friend, so whatever. I did notice, that chick that was calling me out on, trying to say I was cheap ass, that she, believe me, I know what a cheap ass is. I see lots of people that don't tip at all. That's a cheap ass. Hello. Anyway, and the bartender seemed pretty grateful. I mean, she said thank you and stuff and was totally friendly. So I just think this woman's just, yeah, not the baller you're looking for. Now, if you could fuck off over there, that'd be great. Anyway, yeah, I noticed her using her phone to order I don't know, an Uber or Lyft. The rideshare apps all look the same to me, but she's obviously using a rideshare app to order a ride. And the last song I sang, I don't remember what the last song I sang was. I do remember it was kind of a jam. Some people were kind of getting up and into, although the bar had really thinned out by that point. A lot of people who had hooked up with people or, left with their significant other, people were definitely leaving in couples, and except for me. But Cheryl came up and was kind of dancing and grinding on me big way, and just kind of groping on me a little bit, which is, yeah, that's yeah, I'm so shy and awkward at approaching women. That's kind of what I need. That's kind of what I need to like pretty much a woman has to come up that far on me before it ever, works out with me. And miraculously, like, that does happen to me on occasion. But unfortunately, like I said, I'm not really all that attracted to Cheryl. And, she, by that time she was just sloppy drunk as well. I only ordered the one pitcher. The native gay guy whose name I can never remember, who kept trying to introduce random women to me. He bought me another pitcher of beer, which I probably only drank half of. I went out drinking first call. So, Saturday night I just wasn't really feeling drinking. I was awfully depressed. I mean, the whole thing with Priscilla climbing in, after being out all night and offering no explanation for why she's out all night and showing up at 7 p.m., like, just comes in and like everything's okay, and then climbs in bed. And of course, I'm just so excited at just finally getting what feels like it's going to be some physical intimacy, and gets me so hot and bothered, and even let me touch on her a little bit, but just, for it to ultimately be a cock tease, and then just get denied repeatedly. And then that whole thing where she went in the bathroom and then went to the computer to buy karaoke tracks for another show, like that left me in a really bad mental, that was not a good mental state place when I went there. So there's that. But so anyway, I had the drink, and no, I didn't. So I only had like a pitcher and a half beer anyway. So I was not drunk at all. I mean, I wouldn't even say I was buzzed. And she was just sloppy drunk. And like, even if she was absolutely drop dead gorgeous, like I don't feel right. I just don't feel right going home with a woman to make out, to hook up with. in that situation. Now, if we're both sloppy drunk, that's a whole other situation. You know, it's on. I mean, my God, if we were both sloppy drunk and she didn't have her bitch ass friend cock blocking me, it probably would have been on. But yeah, like she was just, you know, I just felt like I would have been, that just didn't feel right to me at all. And then right after that, her friend made a good point to, you know, basically scoop her up, and they left together. So she did come over and give me another hug before she left. Cheryl did. So there's that. So anyway, yeah, that was my exciting night. At least I enjoyed singing. And the burger was good. They always have good burgers over there at the Hideaway. And it's not cheap, but it's reasonable. I think the burger there is like $7 or $8. I ordered it with tots. It came with seasoned fries. I was kind of frustrated with. That's the other thing. Like I thought it tipped pretty good considering she messed up my order. But yeah, I had asked for tots. She had asked if I wanted. I specifically said I wanted tots because she asked if I wanted it with fries or tots. I said tots, and it came with seasoned fries, and they were extra salty. But the seasoning they put on was really good. So I was just like, normally I don't really like fries, but I had a couple, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to complain about the tots. This is actually pretty good. So, yeah. So kind of a pricey way to eat, but it's, I mean, as bar meals that fill me up go, it's pretty reasonable. The burger over there.